Hello mixology hackers, welcome back to the channel and very nice to see your smiley faces. I hope you're happy to see me back because of course I disappeared on a little holiday to the sunny Portugal and boy it was amazing. But while I was on the holiday I also did a little research, and since we're coming to a change of season, unfortunately summer is going away, I think it's time slowly to start introducing some ingredients which you can use in the autumn or the fall season, depends where you live and how you call it, and of course winter season. Now, being in Portugal, I decided to take some inspiration from the local cuisine, and guess what? Figs are very popular in Portugal for a jam, for a liqueurs, for a syrups, for anything. Wherever you go, you can find fresh figs, bottle figs, distilled figs, pickle figs, anything fig, okay? So today I decide to introduce to you two different ingredients. One of them is going to be made today, really straightforward. This is going to be a syrup, a fig syrup, and the other one, it'll take a few months to develop, but today we're gonna mark the beginning of making it. So let's see what I have prepared for you. Okay, mixology hackers, I really enjoyed Portugal. I absolutely really enjoy. And just to show you something which is absolutely not related, but it's a Beirao, I think I'm saying it right. It's a local liqueur which I absolutely adore, and I had to get a bottle. Now, there's no figs in it, but it's gonna work fantastic with the fig syrup which we're gonna make today, and also with the fig bitters which we are preparing today. With a little more patience and few months forward, we are going to have a lovely fig bitters just in time for the winter season and maybe your Christmas plans. So first things first, ingredients as always. What you're going to need for the fig syrup and the fig bitters today. We're starting with the syrup. So as you can see, I have everything laid down for you, so it's nice and easy to explain everything. The fig syrup is going to be a mixture of fresh figs and a dry figs. The reason why we're mixing it is because the fresh fig have a wonderful flavor, a fresh kind of aromas, but it's not strong enough in the sweetness and the flavor as the dry figs. So that's why we are going to mix it. Usually when you're making syrups like that, from let's say fig or apricot or peach or pretty much any fruit, using a dry fruit it's much better because obviously it's dehydrated, the water is gone away, and it's left with a concentrate flavor, which is absolutely fine. Once you put it back in the water, it will release this flavor and you'll create a fantastic syrup. However, I like to mix both of them together. Then we're gonna mix the sugar as well. We have 150 grams of golden demerara sugar and 100 grams of the golden muscovado sugar. You don't have to do this. If you want, you can just go with the golden demerara sugar, but I like to mix it because the muscovado sugar is going to introduce flavor of caramel and it's going to make the syrup a little bit more thicker and silky. That's the only reason I like to kind of introduce a little bit of muscovado sugar to this type of syrups, which is autumn or winter flavor. And of course, we are going to use some water. So the water, it's exactly the same amount in grams or milliliters, 250 ml or 250 grams as the sugar. When it comes to figs, we have here 75 grams, but you can go around 50 to 75 grams of dry figs. And we have 125, 130 grams of the fresh fruit. Okay, so this is for the syrup. Now let's see what we need for the bitters. So to start with, we are creating a fig bitters and we're gonna go with 125 grams or 135 in this case of dry fig. So it's roughly around 120, between 120 and 130 grams. You don't need to be exactly precise, but it's just in this ratio. Then we're gonna use 1.5 sticks of a cinnamon bark. So this one of them is gonna be chopped in half. Around 4 to 5 star anise. Then we have 10 grams of green cardamom pods, 10 grams of whole cloves. Don't use powder, use the whole cloves. Then we have 15 grams of fennel seeds, 5 grams of black peppercorn, 3 grams of dandelion roots, and 1 gram of wormwood. Now I have to explain here. There's a big difference between bitter and bitter, okay? The bitters which you probably used in a bars or you have in your house, in most cases require to use a dash of bitter or 2 or 3 dashes because they are highly concentrated and they are of course not really potable. I mean, some of them can be drunk as a shot, but very rare occasion. In this case, we are creating a bitter which is going to be used as a proper measure in a cocktail. So it won't be overly bitter, but it will introduce complexity, we will introduce flavor. However, you have to use it a little bit more so you can introduce these flavors. In this case, it's going to be around half an ounce to even 1 ounce sometimes you can use it. So these bitters is totally different. For this reason, we are going to macerate all these botanicals and herbs in a high proof rum. Now again, I'm using a high proof rum. There you go. I have the bottle here. It doesn't matter what rum you're gonna use, but it needs to be high proof. It needs to be at least, this one for example with 75.5, so it's 150 proof if we have to put it that way. So make sure you're using a high proof spirit, and because we're doing a thick bitters, you have to use dark spirit. I mean, you can go with a light spirit or maybe just a grain spirit or a high proof vodka, but trust me, I've tried this a few years ago. It was okay, but I find out that with rum or maybe high proof rye whiskey or even some high proof cognac or bourbon or maybe spice rum but high proof, you'll be introducing a wonderful combination of flavors and botanicals and herbs, and the balance and the whole experience, it will be a totally different. And most of all, it's your own bitter. So I'm giving you the guidance. You can always add, for example, to these bitters, you can add a little bit of earthy thyme or a rosemary, or you can add a little bit of let's say whole spices, or you may want to add a different kind of a root, maybe ginger root. So I'm giving you the basis here. You can experiment. However, if you follow, just make sure you get everything down from the description as a measurement so you can create these wonderful bitters. The thing with the bitter is that today we are just going to put everything together and leave it on the side for the next 2 to 3 months. Yeah, so at some point on the channel we will come back to these bitters and we will find out how they work out. But for now we are just going to prepare the bitters. Okay, so regarding equipment, I'm gonna move a few of the things here. You don't need that much equipment like you usually do when you prepare syrups or other things, because the actual bitters, they're gonna be macerated. So they will be going straight in the bottle, all these botanicals and herbs and roots, and we're gonna leave them on the side to macerate. You can break the pods, the cardamom pods, you can break the cinnamon more, you can break the cloves if you want, but it's not necessary because you have enough time, 2 to 3 months, all this spirit to extract every single flavor from all these herbs, botanicals and roots. Okay, however, you are going to need, and as I always say, make sure you invest. You need 1 scale like that for the syrups, and you need a micro scale, of course, for the small amounts which we're using in the bitters, for the roots, and especially for the highly bitter content. Okay, so this one, as always, link in the description if you like to get yourself some scales. I have already measured everything, so we're not going to waste time. Of course, you need, for the syrup, we are going to cook this today. So it will be done here on the beautiful stove, and we're cooking it in the pan. Why? Because we want very quick boiling, then leave it to simmer a little bit, then we're going to discard the hard parts. We're going to put it to simmer again to thicken more. And using a pan, it's much better because you have bigger surface area on the top open, so it can evaporate quicker, okay? Of course, you're going to need a knife, a cutting board, and you're done. So, if we're done, let's start prepping the syrup. And while the syrup cooking, we're going to prep the bitters, and we're done, okay? Let's crack on. Okay, my lovely friends, so before I start, I just want to mention something as well, because I kind of missed it in the beginning. In this syrup, it's entirely up to you, but I will recommend to use a half of lemon squeezed inside, just to give a little bit of acidity to the thick and the sweetness, in making a really good balance. And this, obviously, it's completely optional, but I will suggest try it. Maybe do the thick syrup without the lemon, separate it, try a little bit with lemon, without lemon, see how you feel. I find it really good to have a little bit of this acidity to cut through, okay? And another thing which is completely optional, I have here a few hibiscus leaves. The reason why I'm using them, it's not going to introduce any flavor. You know, hibiscus you need to use a lot to make it really stand out. This is more about coloring. So the hibiscus is creating a really nice red color. However, the fig and the sugar which we're using, it will create really dark, good syrup, like a caramel color. But with the hibiscus, you're gonna color it even more, and it will be really, really pleasant, especially if you're using it, let's say you decide to do a nice riff on your old fashioned with the figs, or maybe you wanna do some Rob Roy, or maybe you wanna do a Manhattan. It kind of works really nice with this warm and dark spirits, okay? However, it's absolutely optional, just giving you as an idea. I will be using it, but it's entirely up to you. So let's start. First of all, I'm gonna switch on here, and I need temperature. Okay, so we're gonna add the water. And the figs. So the figs, I will just cut this in half. I don't really need them to be chopped really small. All I want is the water to start doing the magic, and obviously release the flavor of the figs. So we start with the dry, and then we'll put straight away the fresh one as well. They can be cut like in quarters, just so you give them a chance to cook faster. That's all, because the dry one, they're already kind of a half cooked, let's put it this way. They're dry, they're ready to eat as a fresh fruit as well, but the fresh fruit needs a little bit more breaking up, okay? Just gonna increase this a little bit, so we give it a quick boost. There you go. Just take this top off. Right, by the way, while I'm cooking, just so you know, I'll leave a link in the description. I have created a brand new community on Skool app. Now, if you're not familiar with Skool, check the link in the description and familiarize yourself. But the idea of the community is that I am combining both mixology hacks and Just Shake or Stir, so we can create community where we can chat, learn, educate ourselves. At the moment, the community is free. At some point, it's going to become with membership. But whoever joined the community now, or at least the first 50 people, I'll make sure they are forever free. Okay? I will leave link in the description. Okay, we start bubbling, so we're going to put the heat down, and it's time to add our sugar. Just cover your figs. Let that sugar go through the fruit. Like I say, don't worry about the dry figs, because obviously they're already sweet enough, but that's what we need them, because they will be introducing this extra flavor to the syrup. And as I mentioned before, I will be using half of the lemon, just a half a lemon juice. Okay. And just gonna squeeze some lemon inside. That's all I need. I'm gonna put the heat up and add my hibiscus as well. And this is it pretty much. Now it's all a measure of cooking. You're going to cook this on a low temperature. You don't want to boil it like that. We want to go down. We want it to simmer, okay? So go down until it's literally start just simmering. Fabulous. There you go. Just a little up. So you want it to simmer for about 15 minutes. Then we're gonna shut it down, cover, and leave it on the side for another half an hour to help extract everything from this figs, the hibiscus, and to combine everything together before we separate the liquid from the fruits. And we are going to simmer for another 10 minutes or 15 to thicken the syrup even more. Okay, I'll see you shortly. Okay, my lovely friends, it's been around 15 minutes and we are ready to stop the cooking process. Cover your syrup and just leave it on the side, okay? You don't need to keep it here, just leave it on the side for another 20 minutes up to a half an hour just to cool down a little bit. And of course, it's gonna help the hot water to extract even more flavor from the figs, to macerate a little bit more, and it will be ready to thickening. Now, it's entirely up to you at this stage. If you don't want more fig syrup, you can leave it to cool down. You can strain it through a fine sieve or a mesh so you can remove any of the seeds coming from the figs, because you know the figs have really small seeds. They're not really pleasant to be in your syrup, and you can bottle it. However, we are going to cook a little bit more to thicken the syrup. I like it when it's more thick, more concentrated, which give me the options when I use in the cocktails to use less amount than the usual, let's say 15 ml or a half an ounce when you're using syrups in a cocktails. And while this is cooling down, we are going to make our bitters. So what you're gonna need is basically grab a bottle like that, something bigger. Now, all you need to do is put all of the roots and the herbs and the botanicals inside. Now, I will use a funnel and I will start with my cardamom pots. Now, it's entirely up to you, like I said before. You can break them a little bit if you want, but it's not necessary because we are not doing a quick bitters. We're not extracting rapid infusion, which we're gonna do in the next episode when I'll be showing you how to do a rapid bitters. So when you're on a rush or you just decide to make a party and you wanna make your own bitters, you can do that. But today we are doing preparation for a slow maceration and slow extraction of flavor for the bitters, which I said is gonna take around 2 to 3 months. We're just gonna crack on the start today, okay? So first of all, depends of the bottle you're using. You may need to create like a paper funnel. I'm using this funnel because I have the small cloves, which I can easily just make sure they get inside. It's entirely up to you if you want, like I say, if you have a steady hands or you're using, let's say, a bigger jar, not a bottle, you can just pour them straight in. Fennel seeds next. Okay. Then we're going with the black peppercorn. A little bit of dandelion roots. All these ingredients, it's fairly easy to find. Depends where you live, obviously. If you're in UK, I'll leave you a link in the description down with a few suggested places where you can buy all these kind of ingredients. Of course, every country have distributors. You can get them. Maybe some of them it's available. Most of them probably is available on Amazon as well. But I do suggest if you find a proper distributor of herbs, botanicals, roots, teas, things like that, because they specialize in this kind of stuff and they know how to pack them. You have more information, more kind of a guarantee that you're gonna get like fresh products, and you're not gonna get something which you buy it and then it says expire in 3 days time. Not like they really expired, but every herb, root or botanical lose strength and flavor and aromas with the time, okay? So more fresh, more freshly made, it's much better. So yeah, that's all it is. Right, I'm done here with the small bits. I have 4 star anise. Now if you like a little bit more anisette to your bitters, this kind of a flavor, you can increase to 10 star anise, or you can introduce licorice roots if you want. I'm kind of a, you know, with a fig bitter, I really like to don't introduce licorice, but you can do that if you want. We'll get a full bark of cinnamon, and the other one we're just gonna break in half. We don't need that much, just a half of it. Okay. Just to show you, that's where you're gonna end up in the bottle. You see? A lovely mixture of a nice herbs, botanicals, and roots. And to make the bitters, all you need is 750 ml or a bottle of overproof rum, overproof rye whiskey, a good overproof bourbon, or if you really don't like any of these spirits, go with a vodka or a grain spirit. But again, I suggest use a dark spirit, okay? And we are just going to fill it up. As simple as that. The beauty of the bitters is that they stay indefinite, okay? Once it's done, you can use it forever. And it's not like it's expired or anything's gonna go wrong. It's just beautiful creation. Obviously with these bitters, like I mentioned, they will not going on a dashes. They will be used on a good measure, at least like a 15 ml or a half an ounce per cocktail. So it's gonna finish quicker. So if you wanna create more, obviously double up all these ingredients. When I leave everything down in the description, you can multiply and create few bottles so you have a bigger batch. But if you're not sure about it, if you're not particularly sure if you're gonna like the fig bitter, which I'm telling you, it's absolutely fantastic addition to most of the cocktails, of course just stick with one like that, okay? Give it a good shake. Not like this is gonna do something at the moment, but it kind of is gonna incorporate the liquid to all the fibers of the roots, of the spices. And this is it, my lovely friends. We are going to leave the wonderful creation. Today it's 10th of September. So we have October, November. Should be ready by 10th of December. And why I'm doing it today? I know you're watching the video a little bit later, but I'm doing this on 10th of September because on 10th of December, it's my birthday. And that's where I'm hitting the big 5-0. So I'm going to be treating myself with some wonderful fig bitters on my birthday and the rest of the winter with some lovely cocktails. But we'll see what is going to come. Until then, this is going in my dark room. Put it somewhere away from the sunlight in a dark place. It doesn't need to be warm. It doesn't need to be any special treatments. Just put it on the shelf. And once a week or twice a week, just go and give it a little shake, just so you kind of incorporate the spirits with the whole herbs inside and roots and everything. Another thing here I have to mention, if you want to increase the flavor, you want to introduce some smokiness to these bitters, I will probably mention in a few videos down the road, because I may split in half and make a half a portion with earthy thyme, like a herb, yeah, because Some of the thyme, it's citrus, some of it is just regular, but also have earthy thyme, which is really smoky and it's introducing a really good flavor to these bitters. However, if I do that, I usually tend to do it in the last week of preparation of the bitters. I don't want too much infusion of the thyme. I just want a little bit of this earthy smokiness. So it's not necessarily to use it now. Of course, I need to remind you here again, check the link for the school community. I really like to see you there because we are going to have such a good fun. I'm going to be uploading especially videos there, courses and educational stuff, which is going to be only for the school community. And as I mentioned, once I hit 50 members, the community is going to become premium membership. It's not going to be much. It will be a cocktail for the price of cocktail monthly fee. So it will be probably $10 per person, but it will help me to get more equipment, ingredients, and get more in depth teaching you some good stuff. And of course, because it's community, we can chat, we can talk to each other, we can all interact, give ideas, exchange ideas. It's a live community, which it's not like here just comments and I need to reply and then another comment. You can talk to each other. It's totally different place. It's concentrated just to build community and being us, people who likes cocktail mixology. And there's one more thing in the community. I will be teaching you how to do a cocktail and drinks photography as well, which is a bonus to the thing. Anyway, the syrup, it's here. I will leave it to cool down. Just gonna open to see it. Look, oh, that smells delicious. I'll leave it to cool down for another 15 minutes and then we're gonna strain and give it a quick boil or a simmer again before we bottling. See you shortly. Okay, mixology hackers, we are ready to strain and thicken the syrup. As I mentioned before, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, because that is just my personal preference. But if you decide to follow, make sure you fine strain your syrup. Okay, do not throw your figs. Okay, you can use them for create a jam, you can use them for create a garnish, you can use them to put them on top of the pancakes or the waffles or whatever. It's a proper fruit, it's just being cooked in sugar. It's absolutely fine. Once it's cold, you can eat it, do not throw it, all right? Oh, sweetie, right? I'm gonna leave this here so we don't do the mess as we do. And there we go. The last step of the process, it's basically to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes if you want, just to reduce a little bit more the liquid, evaporate a little bit and make it thicker. That's it. And again, as always, magic of editing. I'll see you in a second. Just cutting while this is simmering, I got so excited I forgot to put the figs. Now this is absolutely unacceptable. Why none of you stop and shout and say, where's the figs? I'm so sorry guys. So here we go, we're gonna do that. Why I'm actually simmering the syrup on the side. I could easily cut that, make it like a short snippet and say, and finally you put your figs, but I don't think it's fair because literally I forgot. So there you go, you see, I'm filming it live, not live, but yeah, I'm filming it now. So I could edit, but I will not edit. So the figs are entirely up to you. If you want to cut them in half or put them full. It's gonna stay for 2-3 months. Sorry. So it doesn't matter. The alcohol is gonna go through it and it's gonna extract the flavor. What I'm gonna do, and I usually do, is just cut in half but not split them, okay? Just make a nice cut in the middle, which is gonna help the rum or the whiskey or whatever you're using to go through inside the fruit, open it slowly, and of course extract any flavor from the pulp inside. You see, just open it like that. Simple as that. Put your figs inside. They are very sticky. You know, dry figs, I love it because they have so much flavor and they introduce sweetness. You know, some of the bitters use, for example, honey or sugar to kind of balance the bitterness. In this case, with the dry fig, you don't need to do that because the figs already have their own sweetness and they'll balance perfectly the actual bitters. However, if you really feel like you need a little bit of honey inside or some sweetness to balance the bitterness when it's ready, that's entirely up to you. I'll give another shake. And we are good to go. We'll leave them to rest, and yeah, producing fantastic bitters. Right, our syrup, it's really thickening. Now I will not bother you with bottling because you know how to bottle a syrup. Use the funnel once it's cold, or if your bottle is heat proof, you can straight away bottle it. However, leave it on the side a little bit. Just let it go a little bit kind of a room temperature before you're bottling. Then put it in the fridge. And quick tip here, because we're gonna be using a cocktails again, even if you use on a pancake, you can drop a ½ ounce of some kind of a spice rum, whiskey, or a brandy. This is gonna help the syrup to stay a little bit more as a shelf life, and also it's gonna introduce a touch of little flavor to the syrup, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, this is a personal preference. I always do that. You'll see on other syrups, other videos I've done it, and I always will do it. A ½ ounce of the relevant spirit to the syrup, it's doing magic. Some people will argue that you need to put more to preserve it for longer. That's not the point here. We're not making syrup to use in 6 months, okay? If I want to use in 6 months, I will bottle it, I will vacuum it, I will boil it again in the bottle to vacuum to make the, it's a totally different system. We are doing syrup which is going to be used pretty much immediately. So 2-3 weeks, that should be gone by then, because you're going to absolutely love your old fashions or Manhattans or Rob Royce or any cocktails which you like these 3 ingredients or anything, because it's absolutely delicious. Who knows, you may like it on your waffles, I don't know. So I'm happy here. This is going to be another 5 minutes of simmering. I'll leave it on the side, then bottling, and then ready. Don't forget, always when you do stuff, label your things, okay? I will leave you a link in the description for labels like I use on my all ingredients here. As you can see, let me show you. All my pots with the herbs, with any roots, anything what I do, it's labeled. The machine which I'm gonna leave you link in the description, it's fantastic because it's work with your phone, it's a Bluetooth, it's printing straight away, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video when we are going to create some rapid bitters. And of course I didn't forget about the ginger beer and ginger and pink grapefruit and fennel sodas and all these things which I promised before, so they're coming as well. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and check all links in the description about the school community, about all equipment, and anything what you need to know from this video. But for now, stay safe, go get some fix, and start messing in your kitchen, do some mixology hacks, and most of all, have fun. Bye-bye.